And for every great debate to take place, we need to check off 3 items in the bucket list. The first, of course, is the debate topic. Tonight, our debate will be a heated discussion on finding the resolution to this worldwide recognized problem. Should healthcare services be provided free for all? For ages, proper healthcare has been one of the biggest needs of humanity's survival. But the question that remains unsolved is that should healthcare services be granted or earned? Now, I'm an ordinary human being with doubts on this and the most important item in our bucket list, the red and blue stars of tonight. The well-prepared, well-educated, and good-looking 2 teams of gentlemen, each supporting one side of this topic with well-researched arguments and facts. So let me take this opportunity to welcome these both teams of young men to join me in the virtual lectern. Gentlemen, please do make sure your cameras are switched on while I call your names so you may be spotlighted for our virtual audience. In the side of the proposition, who stands up for the idea healthcare services should be provided free for all, we have the golden gladiators, starting with Gavel Yusuf Mohammed Siddiq, Gavel Marshall Nafil, Gavel Fazil Fazmy, Gavel Bilal Muhammad Jeffries, Gavel Delmit Varnasuriya, Gavel Muhammad Farooq. And to go against this idea, the opposition who say that healthcare services shouldn't be made free for all, we have the invincible warriors, starting with Gavel Vishal Kunaratne, Gavel Adnan Naeem, Gavel Zaid Mohammed Siddiq, Gavel Usman Masood, Gavel Shabir Imtiaz, and finally Gavel Harun Fahim. Now, the third item in our bucket list is what separates a debate from a normal argument. That's right, the rules of a debate. For without rules, there is no order. Without order, there is no authenticity. And without authenticity, there is no debate. So as the moderator, let me enlighten you, my beloved virtual audience, how I'm going to run this debate. To put it in simple terms, I would say this debate can be divided into 4 segments. The opening segment, we are making a good first impression matters. In this segment, we will have 2 speeches, starting off with the proposition and ending with the opposition. These 2 debaters will have a time limit range of 4 to 5 minutes. The construction segment, which I would like to call the warm-up session, where teams put out the points supporting their sides of the topic. In this segment, we will have 4 speeches, 2 from each side, starting off once more with the proposition and ending with the opposition. These 4 debaters will also have a time limit range of 4 to 5 minutes. The rebuttal segment, the more aggressive part of the debate, the highlight of the show, which I would like to call the battle of intellect. In this segment, we will also have 4 speeches, but this time starting off with the opposition and ending with the proposition. Furthermore, the debaters of this segment will only receive a time limit range of 3 to 4 minutes. The closing segment, where leaving a lasting impression matters. In this segment, we will have 2 speeches, starting off with the proposition and the final speech of the debate with the opposition. These 2 debaters will have a time limit range of 4 to 5 minutes. For the benefit of our debaters, I would request the chief timer to assist me while I go a bit more detail in how the timing will be done. For debaters with a time limit range of 4 to 5 minutes, the green light will be switched on 4 minutes. The yellow light will be switched on 4.5 minutes. The red light will be switched on 5 minutes. For debaters with a time limit range of 3 to 4 minutes, the green light will be switched on 3 minutes. The yellow light will be switched on 3.5 minutes. The red light will be switched on 4 minutes. Each debater will be given 30 seconds to wrap up their speech after the red light is switched on. I request all debaters to pin their timers before they start their speech, and I wish to inform the debaters that you would be given only 30 seconds to wrap up your speech, and once the time limit has been surpassed, your microphones will be muted. Thus, I advise you to keep your speeches within the time limit range and not dwell any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, I do hope you had a heavy breakfast and lunch, for I guarantee you that today's debate will be so heated that you will need a lot of energy to keep up. So to begin the Serendib Boys annual club debate for the year 2020-2021 on the topic, should healthcare services be made free for all, let me call upon our first speaker from the proposition of the Golden Gavel Gladiators, Gavel Yusuf Muhammad Siddiq, to make his team's opening statement. Gavel Yusuf, the virtual lectern is all yours.
Mr. Moderator, point of order. Mr. Moderator, I think our chief judge said that there will be only two timing devices, timing, that is amber and red. Mr. Chief Judge, can you clarify on that?
Yes, there won't be green. For the constructive speakers, at the 4th minute, amber light will be switched on, and after 30 seconds, at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, red light will be switched on. At the 5th minute, the red light will still be remaining. At the 5th minute, all speakers will be stopped and the moderator will call in the next speaker. For the rebuttal speaker, it will be 3 minutes amber, and then 3 minutes and 30 seconds, the red light will be switched on. Then the speaker has 30 seconds to wrap up his speech. At the 4th minute, the speaker will be stopped and the moderator will call on the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying this, Chief Judge, as well as thank you, Chief Zoom Master, for bringing this matter up for us. Well, Golden Gladiators and Invincible Warriors, I'm sure you must have all listened and understood what the timing requirements are. So let's begin our debate by now calling upon Golden Gladiators' first speaker, Gavel Yusuf Muhammad Siddiq.
Should I start now? Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
So I can start, right?
Yes, you can.
Should healthcare be free for all? Is it even a question to ask? Do you want your parents to be treated for money? Do you want your siblings to be treated for money? In your eyes, are your parents really worth a few gold bars? Respected Toastmasters, honorable panel of judges, fellow Gaveliers, a most welcome guest. A very good evening to you all. First of all, my dear opponents, do you even know the correct definition of healthcare? According to Merriam-Webster, the definition of healthcare is efforts made to maintain or restore physical, mental, or emotional well-being, especially by trained and licensed professionals. Health service providers are in never-ending competition with each other. It's a known fact that the health sector has changed into a business, and even the number of patients are more than the quality of their services. My dear opponents, do you want those lower class people who can't pay for the skyrocketing prices that are labeled on healthcare to die because they can't pay? My dear opponents, you might say that the doctors are not working properly because they don't get paid and the government cannot always pay. They also have their needs. But wait, I was pondering about the taxes we pay. We are always paying for the government. The tax we pay is going to the government, so there's no any issue for the government. For instance, the NHS's UK taxes, an average person per month based on his monthly income drives money the hospital expenses. Yet in the private system, we have to pay for everything. However, what is interesting is that since all citizens and foreigners pay taxes, overall healthcare tax is lowered. Yet when individuals pay, the amount is double. Simple math, my opponents. Do we have to teach you to use a calculator? My dear opponents, did you ever bother to do a research in the country you've been living till this day? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is one of the most rapidly developing Middle Eastern countries in the world. If we compare to the US, has given free vaccines to all citizens and residents for coronavirus. And aren't you going to appreciate it? Over the 7 of you prefer to suffer in a world of death, sickness, and sadness in which the rich would thrive. But my opponents, who are living in the blissful utopia, one full of happiness and free of worry, where healthcare is a sourdough that they can go and buy from the local bakala, it really isn't delusional at all. Also, 2 in 3, the people that file for bankruptcy in the US is because they are unable to cover the humongous cost. Let's take analogy in the US for an average employee. His or her health care is covered by the private insurance. Yet there is a limit. For instance, $10,000. Beyond that, you have to use your money from your pocket, and if you're unable to, the government lost all your assets. And that is game over. This is one of the most cruel acts of privatized healthcare. This person is, for the rest of his life, has to be slaving to the government. All his hopes and dreams are gone. Yet the problem for my opponents are few dollars in so-called huge taxes. There's a stereotype. The governments do not handle healthcare efficiently and have dismantled system when it comes to serious diseases. Just for a moment, ponder about the pandemic we are living through right now. Each and every country made medication towards the treatment of COVID free of charge. Why? It is because deep down, they know that privatized hospitals would have made thus COVID-19 situation a business. They would start selling vaccines in auction sites. Come on, my dear opponents, auctions are morally unethical. So you prefer never to get moved into the, prefer to not get vaccinated. My dear audience, as you see from my opponent's point of view, they are clearly unselfish and cares for the well-being of all human beings. I guess it is better we start living in the reality that healthcare is not some caviar that only the rich can afford, but it is a right for all human beings to enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Gavel Yusuf. We will now hear the opening statement from the opposition. Let me welcome Gavel Vishal Kunaratne from the Invisible Warriors to bring his team's opening statement.
Before we begin, I want my smarter audience to understand that we and our misguided opponents are here to debate on the topic, should healthcare services be free for all? So as the opening batsman of my team, let me make it very clear, what does this topic imply? And why the Invincible Warriors strongly stand on the opposing side of this topic, be it resolved that healthcare should be provided free for all. Mr. Moderator, honorable panel of judges, respected Toastmasters, friends from the audience, and proposition, on behalf of my team, a very good, vibrant evening to all of you all. We are not here to make sugar-coated statements about the negatives of free healthcare system, but are here to justify and prove that the truths and the facts which are clearly against the healthcare system that my opponents are proposing. We understand that the truth may hurt my opponents because you are tunnel visioned into a world with no return. Healthcare is not organized provision of medical care to individuals or a community. Health is something that is required by all and said to be enjoyed. However, many doubts are rising between free healthcare and paid healthcare. Now that healthcare affects the flexibility between the doctors and the patients, and many more, which we'll be revealing today, with all our extensive research and strongly acknowledging that healthcare will eternally not be free for everyone. Medicine was rudimented for the first couple of generations of colonists who landed in the Near World, primarily because few upper-class physicians emigrated to these colonies. Women played a major role in administrating care in these early years. More especially, when it came to childbirth, mortality rates were skyrocketing. Children were falling left and right because deadly diseases like malaria, diphtheria, yellow fever were spreading rapidly. The sick was treated with flock remedies. Through smallpox inoculation was introduced year on. Long sick was treated with flock remedies. Before it was embraced in Europe, in the early years, there was no government regulation or attention paid to the public health. The Medical Society was first formed on Boston in 1735. And that is some history lessons for my opponents if you haven't researched on it. Now coming to the topic of why healthcare should not be free. Because the term free healthcare is not free at all, since we must pay it with our taxes. And people don't realize this and label it free. Expenses for healthcare would have been paid with higher taxes or spending cuts in other areas such as defense, education, government mandated procedures, which will likely reduce the doctor's flexibility and lead to poor patient care. And therefore, we want to reiterate that this so-called free healthcare is nothing but a myth, which my beloved oppositions are being shadowed within. Many things could go wrong if medicine was free in the society, like having to pay medical for strangers. Understaffing of medical staff can lead to reduced quality of care. It leads to reduced motivation in providing innovation in health sector. People may become careless with their health, and the list goes on and on. Nevertheless, the country is the one to get poor quality of service of health to them by trying to become the bit stingy. I mean, at the end of the day, even doctors, nurses, pharmacists, part of the humanity, and they deserve to live like us. All the people are deserving to have better salary, and while they want flexibility, they move to a different option. And that is what we mean by flexibility. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And we will prove, my dear audience, why beauty alone, a future with healthcare free for everyone, is not allowed. Over to you, contest chair.
Mr. Moderator, your video is off. Apologize, we're facing a small difficulty with our moderator. Zoom அப்படியே பேய்திருமா அம்மா Zoom முடிஞ்சிட்டு
in silence. Even for the families that earn more than the average wage, when it comes to terminal illnesses, they cannot afford to continuously pay these huge amounts. However, with universal healthcare, the price for drugs and medication is all controlled by government. They will be subsidized fairly. So even drugs will be reduced. It is because everyone is contributing to the economy, but not everyone suffers from diseases. So maybe the taxes that you pay help save some other lives each and every day in public healthcare system. Why can't my opponents understand this fact? For instance, a visit to the family psychiatrist in the private sector is $120, but in the public sector, it's totally free. So more people involved in regular checkups, and it promotes a sense of healthy and better lifestyle. Winnie Whiteman had a 7-year-old daughter who was sick, so she took for a visit that ended up costing $275. Her family of four had last insurance in 2016. When she looked for coverage last fall, the cheapest plan Winnie could find was $1,734 per month. Her husband, Jason, probably broke his finger last year working, but she said, we just taped it and kept going. Even Jason's knee injury and concussion also went untreated. She's thought about moving to Canada, which has universal health coverage, and has looked at jobs across the border. We are part of a population that's healthy and isn't paying into the system. It's a trade-off she's entirely not comfortable with. I live in a constant state of fear, Winnie said. So my dear Gaviliers and opponents, do you think this is fair? There are many families like Winnie's who don't take treatments for their wounds because they don't have insurance and can't afford to pay the towering prices of healthcare. Currently, 800 million people spend at least 10% of their household budget on health expenses for themselves or a sick child or other family member. For almost 100 million people, these expenses are high enough to push them into extreme poverty, forcing them to survive on $2 or $1 or less a day. So my dear opponents, you're telling to let millions and millions of innocent people just get pushed into poverty? My dear Gavilius, I think medicine should be free for people who are sick. They didn't choose a bad heart. They didn't choose a bad lung. Or it's not fair for them to pay thousands of dollars. My dear, what your opponent said, the government is the main buyer and the doctors, nurses, and patients are the slaves. You must get treated the way your governments prefer. But what do you mean by how you prefer? If you know how to treat yourself, then you don't have to be provided with healthcare. Then you do not know how you must be treated, and the doctor knows how it should be treated. Plus, if we, the citizens of a nation, are the slaves of our government just because they provide our essential healthcare, I would recommend my opponents to hire private military and police only for 3 families, since we don't want to be called slaves. Well, for the point that the doctors and nurses are slaves of the government, then in a privatized system, they would slave off a private insurance company. Yet the disadvantage is you are being controlled by people who takes more money from your pocket than the government in the form of taxes. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Gavel Marshall Nafil. We will now hear the constructive speech from the opposition. The speaker from the debater from the Invincible Warriors is Gavelier Adnan Naim. Gavelier Adnan Naim, the lectern is yours.
My dear opponent, coming from an Asian culture, you and I both know that competition is what keeps us going. Whether it's school or this very contest, you might have heard your mom comparing with the news that the gossip auntie gave over her children. And that becomes our very motivation to be the best version of ourselves. Respected Toastmasters, Gaveliers, and my beloved opponents, a very good evening to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, healthcare services mean the furnishing of medicine, medical or surgical treatments, or enumerated services for the purpose of preventing, curing, or healing human illnesses or physical disabilities or injuries. My dear attentive audience, it's clear my opponent has not come up to here to speak on a debate topic, but on some child's heroism, trying to bring unrealistic ideas to a real world. Free healthcare discourages competition, which results in limited choices and lower quality services. Talking from an economical perspective, when one government funded free healthcare, the provider dominates the market. They may not be considerate about the service they offer as they don't charge any fee. Hence, this may result in consumers using low quality services and they are forced to use health services regardless of the quality due to lack of choices and essentiality of the services. However, when more healthcare providers in the market who offer this service for different prices, consumers can choose from many service providers.
and thus they can purchase service that has the best quality. This reduces long queues and waiting time, which could potentially save more lives. Free healthcare may result in people abusing service provided. For every minor disease, people rush to the hospitals as they are aware of the free services. However, if healthcare were not free, people would be cautious and take care of themselves and wouldn't use the healthcare frequently and would cure themselves using home remedies. Hence, this would allow the hospitals to provide essential medication to those who are frail, vulnerable, and need urgent treatments. As per the news published by New York Times in January 2018, in the UK, where free healthcare was very bad. Patients wait more than 12 hours before they are attended to. To make it worse, hospitals has been ordered to postpone non-urgent surgeries until the end of the month. So, my dear opponents, will you be willing to see a loved one suffer like this? Of course, no. Every human is someone's father, someone's mother, someone's brother, and someone's sister. Where's the mercy in your heart, my dear opponent? My adversaries may promote free healthcare because it can lead to a longer and a healthier life, which was at inequality. My dear beloved opponent, try to look at a bigger picture. Are you saying that 0.2% of the world of doctors must get ready to treat 99.8% of ordinary people? Those sick people may as well take their own life and lay dead because it can take months to take care of themselves. My opponent may highlight that free healthcare allows to increase national happiness and citizens of the country. But the only ones that are being happy due to free healthcare services are the poor patients who cannot offer them. But at what cost? At the cost of how many other people's happiness? Do I need to explain? Free healthcare services may be giving good service and may be made. But these thoughts, selfish thoughts, and all other misguided thoughts are made by misguided people. Are you, my dear opponent, misguided? Oh, thank you. Exactly, Vedo.
Thank you, Cavalier Adnan Naeem. We'll now hear the second constructive speech from the proposition. The debater from the Golden Gladiators would be Cavalier Fazmy. Cavalier Fazmy, the lectern is all yours.
One minute. Can you hear me and see me? A psychiatric diagnosis can be more than an unkind label. Mr. Moderator, Honorable panel of judges, Toastmasters, and my dear friends, a very good evening to you all. In this modern tech era, mental health is more important and essential than physical health. Mental health includes one, psychological, emotional, and social well-being. One's mental health affects how they think, feel, and act to others. Mental health can affect one's daily life activities, relationships, and physical health. Now just imagine, my dear opponents, if healthcare is sold for money, the less and unprivileged men and women would mentally get affected with mental disorders like stress, depression, and even schizophrenia, which will completely ruin their lives. Isn't it, my dear opponents? These mental disorders can come to anyone, your loved ones, at any given time. Now tell me, my dear friends, do you want to take care of these disorders with money or with compassion? Compassion, of course. That could be given to healthcare providers for free to all. Millions of people in the US and all around the globe are affected by mental illness each year. It is important to measure how common is the illness, so we can understand the physical, social, and financial impact, so we can show that no one is alone. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. The National Alliance of Mental Illness is the largest grassroots of mental health organizations dedicated to build better lives for millions of Americans affected by mental health care. 1 in 5 US adults experience serious mental illness each year. 1 in 20 US adults experience serious mental illness each year. 1 in 6 youth aged 6 to 17 experience a mental illness each year. 50% of lifetime mental illness begins by the age of 14 and 75% by the age of 24. Suicide is the second cause of death amongst people aged 10 to 34. Therefore, just imagine a mental disordered person obviously will not have the right potential to earn, but the right to live. If healthcare is free, if healthcare is not free, how are these sectors of people going to survive? My dear friends, money is only to keep us all happy, not to take our life. Why use it to make people mentally mad and by charging of healthcare? Just imagine a very rich person who can buy a house for 10,000 US dollars. Well, 10 families with little income could buy the same house, same mansion, and basically can share. My dear opponents, why do you need to come and fight? Life is so precious. Why are you coming and telling to us that life is stupid? Life is bad. My dear opponents, take this message carefully. Life is important to us. Without life, we are all dead. Money is just a piece of paper where all of us will come and afford. People who are all around the globe. Life is precious. Okay, over to you.
Thank you, Gavel Fazmy. We will now hear the second constructive speech from the Invincible Warriors. The debater from the Invincible Warriors is Gavel Zaid Mohammed Siddiq. Gavel Zaid Mohammed Siddiq, the lectern is all yours.
Free healthcare is a mere political game that's used by politicians to gain higher votes. It's a third-class game played by fourth-class people. Are you, my dear opponents, fourth-class people? Toastmasters, Gaveliers, guests, and my beloved opponents, a very good evening to all of you. My opponent has come up today to speak on the topic that healthcare should be provided free for all. But my dear opponent, do you know that 85% of the health-related costs are associated with chronic diseases? And these are usually caused due to lifestyle choices such as lack of physical activities, smoking cigarettes, and excessive consumption of alcohol. Are you coming to say that these poor human beings who are maintaining a healthy lifestyle are supposed to pay for these irresponsible and careless human beings' healthcare costs? Where is the justice here? WHO reported in their annual report for the year 2020 that life expectancy and health life expectancy both increased by 8% between 2000 and 2016 and remains profoundly influenced by income. My dear opponents, when the World Health Organization is itself announcing that the increase in health and life expectancy was caused due to the increase in income, who do you think you are, my dear opponents? You think you all are qualified medical doctors? My opponent may say that people will go bankrupt if healthcare services are not free and are so expensive. If nothing taught you anything, at least Finland, the happiest country on earth, should have indicated that these services could be cheap, but not free. I think my opponents have been mistaken because they believe if healthcare isn't free, people will go bankrupt. However, my intelligent opponent, let me teach you something. That if healthcare is not free, doesn't mean that it can't be cost effective. You just need to think in different perspectives. Healthcare isn't a one-side business. The money we pay doesn't disappear into thin air or isn't based on luxuries. It's used to feed the families of every doctor, nurse, chemist, and every other medical officer that makes up the healthcare force. My dear opponents, come into reality. Not every doctor has the mentality of Mahatma Gandhi. They do have people they wish to take care of. And if such fate is imposed on them, who do you think is going to come to treat you, my dear opponents? My opponents may come up saying that healthcare is a well-recognized human right. Just because you have the right, that doesn't mean that you're going to get everything for free. We have the right for food, don't we? This food, if you go, for example, for a restaurant and go purchase the food you want, but don't pay for it, is it sensible, my dear opponents? What we mean by right here is that as long as you do your part, we'll never refuse you healthcare. You pay the cost and you'll be provided with the best healthcare services available. My dear opponents, I would suggest that you fix your language first before you come to debate on the topic. Free healthcare, free healthcare, free healthcare. My dear misguided opponents, there's nothing called as free healthcare. There's always someone who pays for it. And for your free healthcare services, it is us, the taxpayers, who pays for it. Let me explain you the process. Firstly, the government imposes various types of tax, such as VAT, income tax, and the list goes on. Secondly, we as citizens pay the tax to the government, and thus this money is used to fund your so-called free healthcare services. So my dear opponents, do you know who pays for your so-called free healthcare services? It's you and I who pay for it. So there's no such thing as free healthcare services. This is just a childish concept made by misguided people. Because if doctors are paid the same salary as bus drivers, do you think our parents in the community at large would be so crazy about making their children doctors? Would they? Contest share.
Thank you, Gavel Zaid. It's truly an honor to be called the contest chair when you're just a simple moderator. But anyways, moving on. We are now entering the rebuttal session. And the first speaker from the Golden Gladiators, who will be the first rebuttal, would be Gavel Bilal Muhammad Jeffries from the Golden Gladiators. Oh, apologies. I have got it. My apologies. I believe I had made a mistake. So I may repeat. We are beginning the Chief Zoom Master. You were correct. I made a mistake in my part. Can we go back to Gavel Usman? Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the rebuttal session, which will begin by the opposition side. Invincible Warriors to Gavel Usman Masood. Sorry for my delay. You will be representing Invincible Warriors as the first speaker in the rebuttal session, and the lectern is all yours.
Just give us a second. We'll just correct it.
Yes, can I start? My opponent may come up with a point saying that free healthcare services could save more lives. Yes, my dear opponents, we can bring more patients because now everyone can afford treatment. But let us get something clear here. The healthcare field is already lacking finances to pay salaries to the healthcare forces. So now tell me, my dear wise opponents, Where in the world are you going to get that money to provide the patients with the latest medical technology? Where in the world are we going to get that money to pay the healthcare forces? And if the quality of the treatment is going to reduce due to free healthcare services, what is the point of bringing in more patients? Good evening, Toastmasters, Gaveliers, and guests. Countries like Switzerland and Finland have some of the best healthcare systems around the globe. They've been recognized for their hygienic, fast, and advanced healthcare system. The basic healthcare for a month in Switzerland was around 400 Swiss francs, and the similar cost in New Zealand. There's not a country in the world that provides free healthcare that stands as one of the top countries in the world, except that there are many patients dying tragic deaths due to long waiting times and poor quality treatments. My dear heartless opponents, put yourselves in their shoes before you start speaking. My opponent may come up saying that free healthcare services would boost economic productivity. My dear opponent, please educate yourselves well before you speak up. My dear opponent, free healthcare services isn't the main factor that motivates employees to be productive. There are factors apart from healthcare that are more important for employees to be productive, such as empowerment, delegation, financial incentives, and many more. My opponent may come up saying that instituting to right healthcare could lower the cost of healthcare in the United States. It's because they have the system that makes them the most developed country in the world. So, thank you for supporting our point. Is there any country that has a higher GDP than the US? Or it is maybe a country that provided free healthcare services and is one of the top countries in this world? If you can't bring such example and you won't, then all the points to speak here tonight are not truths, not facts, not evidence, but rather childish opinions and the based on a fantasy world you're in. My opponents may argue that US, being one of the well-developed nation, has a private healthcare system and yet are unable to control the COVID-19 cases and remains as the riskiest country in the world. My opposition, let me educate you that the US has the third largest population in the world. My dear opponent, healthcare is not the Tom and Jerry movie you're watching in Netflix with your family. However, these services are rendered to save our lives of humanity. If they aren't good enough, we are risking our lives. For us, my dear opponents, every life counts regardless of their gender, religion, race, or ethnicity they belong to. What about you? What is
Thank you, Gavel Usman. I once more apologize to Gavel Usman and Gavel Zaid for my misgivings causing such confusion. We shall now move on to the first rebuttal speaker from the Golden Gladiators, Gavel Bilal Muhammad Jeffries. Gavel Bilal Muhammad Jeffries, the lectern is all yours.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
My dear adversaries asked us, are we fourth-class people? Open your eyes, look around. Not everyone in this world is as fortunate as you are to receive the same healthcare that you get on a daily basis. Some people are in the 3rd class, in the 4th class, and even the 5th class if that exists. But everyone deserves to get treated equally, no matter how poor or no matter how rich they are. So take a moment, step inside their shoes and stop being selfish. Do you think they have it as easy as you do? No. My opponents also said that healthcare is not something that you are born with, but it's something that you should provide. So my dear opponents, when you are born, there's no need for your mother to feed you. She has the choice to leave you on the streets or bring that child home and take care of that child. It is because the child cannot control his behavior. Same with healthcare, someone has to provide it. You cannot treat yourself when you're sick. Someone else has to give it for you. Yes, we are not the uneducated to understand the fact that when something is free, it has no value. But my dear opponents, this isn't the whole point. You are highlighting one part of this entire thing. Just like the air we breathe and the water we drink, healthcare is a necessity and everyone deserves to get it. What if I charged you per breath? What if I asked you per breath, you had to pay me $1? Well, that seems absurd. Well, why don't you use the same theory on healthcare? Why don't you step into the shoes of the millions of people who are poor and who do not have enough money to afford? Let's move on to drug pricing. Take diaprim. Diaprim is a medication used alongside some others to treat a serious parasitic infection called toxoplasmosis to prevent the infection in someone with HIV. The drug came into the public eye in 2015 when the company Turing Pharmaceuticals hiked the prices of the life-saving drug from $13.5 to $750 per pill. That's more than a 5,000% increase. So is this ethical? And that's not even the punchline. The person who did it, the CEO, went to jail 2 years after all this happened. And until now, all these prices still haven't come down. So you're telling me that paying for this is worth it? Paying $750 for the same pill that could have costed you $13.5 before is worth it. That's clearly not delusion at all. So my dear opponents, think that as long as 100 people can afford the healthcare, then it is all fine. Let us all forget about the people who are suffering every day, the millions of people who desperately need the healthcare but can't afford it, simply because we decide to choose quality over serving all the people. I mean, some people's life are more worth than the others. If you have money, you're worth more than the rest of them. This is not selfish at all. But think about it. Everyone deserves to live. And as long as everyone gets it, this world will be a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Gavel. We will now hear from the second rebuttal speaker from the Invisible Warriors, Gavel Shabir Imtiaz. Gavel Shabir Imtiaz, the lectern is yours.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
My opponents came up today throughout the speech saying that healthcare services are supposed to be free for everyone. It is supposed to be free for all. But my dear clever opponents, do you realize that the word all in our topic highlights people like rapists, drug dealers, serial killers, murderers? All these people would belong in this group. And my dear opponents, aren't you demoralizing other citizens who deserve a higher status and indirectly boosting the criminal rates? What I will do, my dear opponents, would recommend you to understand the topic well before coming here and blabbering points that are blatantly wrong. Because healthcare was not, is not, and shall never ever be free. And that is a fact and not a statement. Greetings to my dear judges, Toastmasters, Gaveliers, and friends. My dear opponents, stop making up fake stories. That is not going to make anyone cry, because this is a debate and not a speech to your parents. Universal free healthcare services will result in inequality in the provision of healthcare services. This is because developed countries have a higher income, so they will spend massive amounts of money for the quality of the treatment. But on the other hand, developing and underdeveloped economies will have less income to spend, which means they'll have comparatively lower healthcare services. My dear opponents, is this what you want? To all the humans to not be equal? My dear opponents, there should be no one who's superior to one another in deserving the right to healthcare. So after hearing this, my opposition will state that we are counter-arguing our own point. But my dear opposition, let us remind you that there is a difference between the innocent souls out there compared to the people who live to take other lives. My opposition, I have to give it to you, because you are clearly ignoring the fact that taxes are the main reason why healthcare services is here today. And it is not some label you give saying that it's free, because it never ever was free. My adversaries are here saying all about the prices, but ignoring the quality of the services they will receive. My dear opponents, if your mother had a heart surgery, my dear audience, I think they'll be going around asking for discount. And also I would like to highlight that our opposition are repeating the point saying that life is precious, life is important. How can life be precious and you wanting cheaper prices than the quality to downfall? My dear adversaries, you all are living in the past, in the stone ages, yet had the audacity to come here today and say that healthcare services are supposed to be free for everyone. My dear audience, what they are trying to say, us much intelligent people, that 1 + 1 gives us 3, which is clearly away from the truth. My dear opposition, come out of your imagination and face the truth, which is the reality, because we are living in the 21st century. Kanasya.
Thank you, Gavelier Shabir Imtiaz. I would really appreciate it if I'm addressed as the moderator and not a contest chair. After all, this isn't a contest, but rather a friendly debate between the Serendib Boys Gavel Club. But either ways, let's move on. We are now coming to the last few sessions of this debate, and to be the last rebuttal speech of the rebuttal session. And to do that, I may call upon Golden Gladiators' second rebuttal speaker, Gavelier Deumit Varnasuriya. Gavelier Deumit, this lectern is.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, we are.
My opponent mentioned that free healthcare is not viable. It is not a reality. Oh, come on. Should we do this again? Look at the current situation we are living in. COVID-19 affects the whole world. And guess what? Medication for that is free too. Even though the medication are produced by the private sector, it is distributed to the community by the public sector. It is because commodities like vaccines cannot be truly produced fairly by the private sector. As you are pointed out, you pay, you get the supplies, you don't get anything. Plus, the healthcare is a necessity. It is not something like bread that you can make at home. You can't treat your own self. You're not a doctor, so get some sense. Someone has to provide it for you. That's why doctors are coming and providing healthcare services for you. So in the case of vaccines, the whole population must receive it equally. You can say that a person who pays more must get a vaccine much quicker. But remember, everyone is equal. Also, my opponents mentioned that in a few countries where people are taking alcohol and they have bad liver cirrhosis and stuff. Let's say, my dear opponents,
No one in this world is born with a bad heart or lungs, unless it's genetic disease. I'm doing some biology. If the people in one country suffers from obesity, the right way to deal with the situation is not to punish them by providing healthcare for the skyrocketing cost that they score. Then you can't say that they need to realize to eat less, but to provide free mental, physical, medical supplies for them free of charge. This is the reason that more healthier people with greater life expectancy are available in countries like Norway. For instance, compare Norway and us. The average state in which the obesity is at a whooping 32% in the United States, and in Norway, 19.5%. Do you realize what the difference? In US, it's completely privatized healthcare. They ignore their clients. What they want is, you become fat, you have reduced by yourself, that is your problem. I don't know what sense it makes. Yet, you are going to argue me that lifestyle difference, but you think the governments are the ones, but we think the governments are the ones that can make the actual difference. Well, moving on. My opponent said that there is clear evidence pointing out that countries with private healthcare has the best quality of medicine. Yet, and the public are unhygienic. Well, my opponents keep basing their arguments without sensible facts. Since, as you can see from this table right now, that the countries that were able to respond COVID-19 pandemic more successfully and unsuccessfully. Well, you seem to notice there's a slight correlation. Can you see? The countries with public healthcare were the best, including our Sri Lanka and New Zealand. The country that we live in had a free market healthcare, and guess what? They responded to the health of a pandemic really well. And guess countries like US, Mexico, Brazil, these countries have privatized healthcare or semi-privatized healthcare, and they struggle to find the proper healthcare for the people who suffer. And there are millions of people who died of COVID-19. Imagine it was provided by the private sector. It would be an auction site. It would be provided, hey, I want the vaccine for this much money. I want the vaccine for this much money. And guess what? It would be totally bonkers. Well, my opponents also mentioned that the healthcare degrade our human rights. But the problem with this is not just logically, but it's an ethical and immoral issue. The divide that it creates between the poor and rich. Some people are born poor, my dear opponents, and some are born rich. Talk all you want, but the rich and poor are different people, and the mother nature provides them equal. My dear opponents, my dear audience, in today's world, we rally for women's rights, children's rights, and rights for freedom of speech and expression. But do we ever rally for healthcare rights? It kills 5 million people annually, but do we ever do it? Think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gavel, for that wonderful finishing the rebuttal session your side. But we still have to hear the rebuttal session from the Invincible Warriors. And to do that, may I call upon Gavelier Shabir Imtiaz to finish off this rebuttal session. Gavelier Shabir Imtiaz, the lectern is yours.
Apologies, I think it's Gavel Harun Fahim, not Gavel Shabir. Yes.
I see. Very well then. May I now call upon Gavelier Harun Fahim to represent as the rebuttal speaker for the rebuttal session. But before that, may I know who would be the sixth speaker for the Invincible Warriors?
We are already completed with our 6 speakers. And now this is the final speaker.
Yes. Okay, fine. Yes, correct.
Thank you.
So now we may begin the final closing session. And to that, I may call upon Gavelier Harun Fahim to complete the session, to begin the session. Thank you.
My dear audience, look at how ironic is the healthcare system that my wise opponents are proposing today. Hospitals are places where patients go to cure themselves. Unfortunately, the free healthcare system that my opponents seem to want don't cure people. Instead, they increase the illnesses. Toastmasters, Gaveliers, guests, and my beloved opponents, good evening. As per a study conducted by the US National Library of Medicines, 78% of patients spend 2 hours or more on the line before being seen by a doctor. Furthermore, the BMJ concluded that these long waiting times and queues have resulted in adverse health effects such as health, stress, anxiety, or pain. My dear opponents, is this what you really want patients to experience? A report published by the WHO named as Delivering Quality Health Services, a global imperative for universal health coverage, highlights that the remaining burden of maternal and child mortality rate in the low and middle income countries, where the majority of them practice the free healthcare system, is largely caused due to the poor quality health services. My dear adversaries, when the WHO itself has declared that free healthcare provides poor quality health services, I don't think there's any way that you can deny this. These are truths and facts, but I understand the truth may be better to accept. Stop repeating the same points, my dear opponents, if you don't have any. Which means you are actually paying the taxes to the government, even though you are too stubborn to admit it. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, think which citizen of a country would willingly allow the money that they work hard to pay taxes to be used to treat every cancer patient tourist entering their country, every foreign criminal captured and jailed, when their children are not getting a good education, when their families are not getting good food, and when their jobs are not getting good payment. Enough about the patients. Let us see it from the doctor's point of view, such as surgeons. Imagine a surgeon who is performing a heart transplant, which is considered to be one of the most riskiest and dangerous surgeries in the world. And this is one of the most stressful for a surgeon. Wouldn't he feel demotivated if he knows he'll be paid a very minor salary and it's done for free? My dear opponents, where is that sense of love and mercy in your heart? He too loves to see his children go to bed satisfied. He too is a human that loves to live a happy life. And he too has a heart that needs to be nourished. My dear opponents, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine you worked all your life to become a doctor. Imagine you studied hard your whole school life and suddenly healthcare goes free. Do you think you will be happy that you didn't get the luxurious life you wanted to live? Or that beautiful Lamborghini you have always wanted to drive in? Don't think that only patients need to save money to live happier. Think about all those medical officers out there who work hard day and night, sacrificing their life to earn a living and to save the lives of others. Let me end our argument today by establishing one important point. If the world was to practice then implement the free healthcare system, we are heading towards a future that doesn't cure patients but eventually kills them. We are heading towards a future where the value of a single life is underestimated. We are heading towards a future where acts such as rape, murder, and drugs are encouraged. We are heading towards a future where poor quality health services will become the largest epidemic in the annals of human history, taking millions of lives. My dear opponents, question yourself. Are you going to be responsible for the death of your loved ones? Contest chair.
Thank you very much, Gavel, Harun Fahim, for completing your opposition side of the debate. Well, this leads us to the final speech of today's debate from the proposition Golden Gladiators. May I call upon Gavel Mohammed Farooq to bring in the summarizing speech, the closing speech of the Golden Gladiators.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
My team and I came here today. We stayed up till 12 o'clock in the night yesterday, and Domit Bidar and I stayed up till 1 o'clock. We assumed our opponents would bring at least points which we could counter. You bring no points, no facts. You make up facts. You take up half. You take a full document, right? You read about the WHO point. You take the first line of what they say, and you ignore the rest of the document. In the rest of the document, if you had bothered to read, WHO themselves that They said poverty is one of the top 3 priorities that they should overcome. Poverty and healthcare. If you go in one of my points, my opponent said GDP is high in US. Oh, really? GDP is not high because of their healthcare. It's high because of the amount of security net that they provide to other countries. If you take countries like even Saudi, they provide soldiers to go there, but that's free. They pay for that. You can't talk about all this nonsense when you talk about according to my Gavel said or President said. Okay, you say that we don't get to decide who is the third class person, first class person, second class person. Who are you to decide who that person is? Just because they live in a third world country doesn't mean they're a third class person. Every person is equal. If you talk about gender equality rights, human rights, how can you then say that no, this person is better than this person because they are first class, second class, third class? Class is not important. Healthcare is not what's important. If you talk about class, that's about like Mercedes you drive. Okay, first class you drive Mercedes. But if you talk about healthcare should be free for all. Because when you were born, did God ask you, oh, do you want a good health? Do you want good lungs? Do you want this? No. He didn't ask you. No. He gave you the health you wanted. And he blessed humankind with brains. The brains that my opponents here are lacking. Because they don't take any of our facts. The only thing that they say in the entire debate is that my opponents might say, we didn't say. The reason we didn't say it is because my opponents didn't take the whole argument. Let's move on to our different speakers. My opponents talk about futures of people. Talk about their future if they're all dead. There's no future if you're dead. If you are living, there's a future. But if you're a cripple, there's no future. Because according to my opponents, no, they don't want to provide free healthcare. They don't want to give people. Who are you to decide if Gabriel Dormant is in a wheelchair, if he can't afford food, if he can't afford money, if he can't afford for anything? Who are you to come and say that no, because Gabriel Dormant, apparently he was rich, he should be afforded free healthcare. And Gabriel Shabir, about your rapists and everything. Oh, rapists. Okay, who are you to say that just because they're rapists, they don't deserve free healthcare? Did you know that sometimes, even 2 years ago, we had a school debate. Y'all were on the other team. Didn't y'all argue and didn't y'all say that no, people are wrongly convicted? Oh, so if they're wrongly convicted, no, it's the government's fault. They'll say sorry to the family. After the person is dead, after the person has suffered mental illness, after the person has got Alzheimer's, brain cancer, heart cancer, lung cancer, all this, my opponents won't bring up any points about this. They only bring up points which are slighted minded, which only support their point. They don't talk about the whole concept. They talk about the quality reducing. My dear opponents, don't talk nonsense. Quality doesn't reduce, no. Take Australia, take Sweden. Sweden, okay, you bought about the Sweden. It has drug abuse. Sweden doesn't have drug abuse. They had drug abuse. They don't have it now because they provide free rehabilitation to all the people who need it. That's what a good country does because they help the people. Because okay, now let's talk about the fact that if the amount of people that are living, only the rich should be provided with free healthcare, the poor shouldn't be provided. Okay, no. Let's break down your point. Okay, let's go in order. Okay, if you say that free healthcare increases illnesses, okay, free healthcare. Very interesting point. From where I don't know, but free healthcare increases illnesses. Then tell me this: why does the US have the highest cases of the amount of coronaviruses? Tell me, they don't have free healthcare. They have to pay. And how is that? Tell me. Then how does it make sense? Your points, you break your own points, you bring your own points. My opponents, your talk, Gabriel Shabir talked about. What did he say? I don't remember. He said that we shouldn't talk about the past and we should talk about the 21st century. So let's talk about the 21st century. Didn't one of your previous speakers talk about something in 1972 in Boston? Well, but let's ignore that because probably all of you are not coordinated even properly. But let's talk about it, right? If 1972, if they had Boston, if they had, you should take the 21st century as well. So I'm going to leave my dear opponents with this. My team and I have absolutely proven all of your points wrong. You're not taking any of our points into consideration. This has not even been a proper debate. It's been a damn joke. Okay? If you want to talk about free healthcare, don't bring first class, second class, third class people. Don't talk about just cancer. Don't talk about only certain illnesses. Talk about everything. Take the whole world into consideration. Because it's not just you that suffers from free healthcare. Okay? There are people who actually deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gavel Mohammed Farooq, for ending that debate in a very heated manner. With this, we are ending the debate session of tonight. Before we sum up the debate, I would like to hand over the participation certificates to all the debaters. We will begin with the Golden Gladiators. The first I may like to call upon Gavel Yusuf Mohammed Siddi. Oh, very well. We shall start off with the Invincible Warriors first. First, we'd like to give the certificate, participation certificate to Gavalier Vishal Kunaratna. Second, Gavalier Adnan Naeem. Third speaker from the Invincible Warriors, Gavalier Zaid Muhammad Siddiq. Gavalier Usman Masood. Gavalier Shabir Imtiaz. And finally, the researcher of their team, Gavalier Harun sixth speaker, Gavalier Harun Fahim. And finally, the researcher of their team, Gavalier Amjad Muhammad Ilha. We are now moving on to the participation certificates of the Golden Gladiator This first speaker, Gavalier Yusuf Muhammad Siddiq. Gavalier Marshal Nafil. Gavalier Fazl Fazmy. Gavalier Bilal Muhammad Jeffries. Gavalier Deumit Warnasuriya. Gavalier Muhammad Farooq. And finally, the researcher, Gavalier Lukmanul Hakim. Thank you very much, Chief Zoom Master. These are the participation certificates of our young debaters today. I truly enjoyed today's debate session. It was truly an amazing performance done by the young Gavaliers. And as a past president, I'm truly proud to see our young Gavaliers reach great heights in their debating skills. I, as your moderator, also enjoyed this session. I do hope you could forgive me for my misgivings during many parts of this debate session where I made slight errors in the introductions. However, this session was truly enjoyable. I hope our audience here from the Serendib Club as well as from the Taprobane Club all enjoyed the session we had today. And I now pass on my lectern to the presiding officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mahdi, for that amazing session. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a virtual round of applause to our moderator, Toastmaster Mahdi Siraj. And we apologize for calling you as a contest chair. Let us now recognize our contest leaders, dignitaries, and other special guests who have embraced this event. Is the technical team ready with the certificates?
Yes, we are.
Our moderator, Toastmaster Mahdi Siraj. Our Zoom Master, DTM Mohammed Fazmy Safvan. And our timer, Toastmaster Nadisha Yenanarchi. Our Zoom Master, Toastmaster Malin Gunasekara. Our Chief Judge, Toastmaster Sasivinda Varagula. Thank you, technical team. Let us now call some dignitaries to give a few words about this wonderful occasion. To begin with, do we have Division or Director Toastmaster Chatara Disanayaka? Toastmaster Chatara Disanayaka, are you there? Okay, let us move forward to Toastmaster Riaz Ibrahim, the Assistant Program Quality Director of Division A.
Thank you, Gavel Zaid, for the opportunity. It's an honor to be part of this debate contest. I truly enjoyed. I had a tendency to change my mind after hearing the debate in terms of the teams. It is very well done and very well organized. I would like to congratulate everyone who has organized this. This is a lesson for Toastmasters like us, how to conduct a debate. Thank you very much for this opportunity once again.
Thank you, Toastmaster Riaz Ibrahim. Do we have Toastmaster Rais Hyderabad, Past Division N Director? Toastmaster Rais. Okay, let's move on to our humorous district champion of District 79, Toastmaster Minuri Vijayasekara. Are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Very good evening to all of you. Thank you for the opportunity. Unfortunately, my camera is not working at this moment, but I hope my voice is enough for you to understand that I really did enjoy this debate. It was so powerful, I must say. It was a barrage of facts and logic, and I really did enjoy, and I have to agree that my mind kept changing between the two teams, and I must congratulate the wonderful Gaveliers for putting up such a great fight from both teams, and hopefully the best out of the best win. And congratulations once again for conducting such a lovely debate. Very well organized, very beautifully done. All the best to you for your future, and I hope that I can join to see more events and more speeches and more success from this lovely club. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Minuri. Let us now speak to Area 38 Director, Toastmaster Faisal Qasim.
Thank you, Gavel President. And I'm very sorry that I was able to only join in the latter part of the debate. And it was so wonderful to see the Gaveliers perform in such manner, and especially the last Gavelier who was like an atom bomb, speaking exactly how a debater must speak in a debate. Congratulations. I know that all these Gaveliers would have put a lot of time and effort to perfect this debate, and congratulations both for both the teams, and especially I must thank all the dignitaries, the division leaders who have graced this occasion, spending their valuable time on a Friday evening to encourage our little Gaveliers so that they can perform well. Thank you, Mr. President, and I hope to see such great events in the future as well.
Thank you, Toastmaster Qasim. Now let us speak to Toastmaster Anwar Muhammad Rizan, our Administration Manager of District 79. Toastmaster Rizan.
Thank you, President. Gaveliers, parents and dignitaries, and judges, all. A pleasant evening to you all. This is one of the kind of debate I have seen from our Gavel Club since a long time. I think after 2 years, I think we kept this kind of debate session, and it's still we have potential Gaveliers to participate in our. Thank you very much, Gavel Councillor Sasarinder, and who helped for these Gaveliers to mentor and deliver the speeches in the very good manner. With that, and I am in another meeting also, and even I mute there, and I am just here and there half, but I have to participate in everywhere, and I think hope it's went well and it will end well even. Thank you very much. Over to you, President, and everyone as a blessed evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rizal, for those wonderful words. Do we have Toastmaster Shatura Disanayaka, Division O Director?
Hello. Yes, good evening to all of you. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. And Yes, I am very speechless at this time, this moment. First of all, talking about this special Gavel club, and this is the club that produced many champion to District 79 as a Toastmaster. So I'm seeing today by performing these Gaveliers. Actually, they are not second to Toastmasters. So I'm seeing very potential members now who eagerly waiting to become a Toastmasters, and let's see in the future. And I wish you all the best. All the 12 speakers are very unique and they have different talents. So I wish you all the best and thank you very much once again for that lovely invitation for us. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chatara, for those wonderful words. And now let us call our Zoom master, distinguished Toastmaster Fazmy Safvan. Toastmaster Fazmy. Okay, let us move on to.
Yes, Mr. President. Sorry for that technical failure. Thank you very much, President Zaid Siddiq, and everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining from across District 79, all the leaders, and I can still remember few months back when Zaid Siddiq was appointed as the president of the club. You know, a few weeks after he gathered a small meeting, and where my son was also in the EXCOM, and he said, this time we will be having a debate contest and it will be done, because for around 2 to 3 years we did not have it in our Gavel club. And at that time I was like thinking, you know, the new broom sweeps well, maybe this is a new broom, you know, we are not going to have this kind of thing, and pandemic and all those things. How come? I was thinking like that, but I was proved wrong. Actually, Gavelier Zaid Siddiq, ever since he joined the club from in grade 8, I have been observing him as a great Gavelier who took the step of coming to area contest, division contest, even district level, and from thereby I could see him coming up in life. And when he becomes the president, I know that he's going to do something really great, and I'm sure that he really did it. So congratulations, Gavelier Zaid Siddiq, under your presidency and under the guidance of our current main club president Sasirinda Waragoda, who initiated this one from all the angle, and we could see a great debate, and we could see all the members who participated, even members who did not participate, their feelings, their gestures, and how hard they work. Even the researchers, even everyone, sleepless night. I could see some Gaveliers until late 1 o'clock at night, getting points and discussing, and that was really an enthusiasm that all of our Gaveliers had, and that enthusiasm that reflected today in your speeches and in the way you try to rebuttal and how you brought the point. So I would like to congratulate everyone, all the entire Gaveliers who participated and who did not participate. And I'm sure we will be having another contest between the girls versus boys. And I'm sure we will have great things to come in the future. And again, thank you very much, Zaid Siddiq, for organizing this kind of, bringing this to the limelight to organize. And also President the Gavel President and the Gavel Councillor, Toastmaster Sasirinda, Toastmaster Pradeep, and everyone who were behind the curtain, who helped to make this event a very success. And finally, Toastmaster Anwar Mohammed Rizan and our area director Faisal Qasim, and of course Madam Samina Mahmood, and everyone, all the senior Toastmasters, EXCOM members who supported to make this a great success. Thank you, and back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fazmy Safvan, for that amazing word. Now, do we have our Girls Gavel Club counselor, Toastmaster Madam Kaida?
Good evening, all the dignitaries and the Toastmasters and my dear Gavaliers. This is the first time I'm witnessing a debate from our Gavel Club. And actually, I was like admired and I learned a lot from you guys and your content, your way of delivery and the expression. Oh my God, it's such a surprise for me today to be here and witnessing a very good debate contest. And I would like to thank all the participants and the Gavel counselors, whoever supported, all the Toastmasters. Thank you so much for made this time valuable for us. Thank you so much. Back to you, President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Khalida. Now, do we have our past Gavel counselor, Toastmaster Muhammad Fahim, to speak a few words? Toastmaster Fahim?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, and my dear Cavaliers, a very good evening. I'm seeing you all after, like, say, 6 months after leaving you as the Gavel counselor. And I'm happy to see that you all have grown physically with the beard and all, and also by your words. I was amazed to see how that timid children whom I left had grown into these mighty gentlemen. And it was really nice to see you all speaking with so much of courage and enthusiasm. And I know since my son is in the debate team that how much work, adding up to DTM Fazmy, how much of work that you all put in bringing this debate to such a place. You all have been working day and night, going out in this cold weather, having meetings outside. It's really wonderful. And I wish you all the best for your future. All the best. And back to you, President Zaid.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fahim. Now, do we have time, Toastmaster Nadisha, to speak a few words? Toastmaster Madam Nadisha? Okay, let us move on to some Cavaliers who are currently Toastmasters. Do we have Toastmaster Madam Chamudi Vikramasinghe?
Good evening, Gavaliers and Toastmasters. It was indeed a pleasure to be watching all these Gavaliers speaking up. I honestly didn't expect so much potential coming out of y'all, but I was honestly so surprised to see most of y'all speaking up. When I saw back in the day, y'all were just sitting there, not speaking at all. But now to see y'all have improved so much, and we have so much to learn from y'all. And thank you so much for inviting me to witness such a great debate. And I wish everyone all the very best. Over to you.
Sayed, you are muted.
My bad. Now let us give our moderators to speak a few words. Toastmaster Muhammad Mahdi Siraj.
Well, thank you, Gavel Zaid, for giving me this opportunity. But what can I say? This is the Boys Gavel Club. I grew up in this place for 5 years. I knew before I was speaking like a moderator, so I had to speak like I was fair. But now I know, no. You guys have been with me for a really long time, and I can never be more prouder than today, seeing that the Gavel Club hasn't lost its sparkle and still shines bright as the brightest jewel in this city. I personally enjoyed this debate. In purpose, it taught me many things. Like, for instance, how can I say that every one of you are very united in what you're doing, and you work hard together as a team, and that is something I really admire in the Gavel Club. Because in the Gaveliers, we believe that one person is not perfect, and therefore all of you always work together in whatever you're doing, and that is what I truly admire about you. And I want you all to keep doing that, keep supporting your president Gabriel Zaid Siddiq, and I hope to see this year to be one of the best years in the Gavel Club history. Thank you, and over to you, Gabriel Zaid Siddiq.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mahdi Siraj. Chief Judge, are the results ready?
I'm sorry, but I'm still counting the votes. Please, until that, just call someone now. Sorry.
Yes, no problem. So now the floor is open for all. Any volunteers who want to speak from the audience? Okay, let us speak to our captain of the Golden Gladiators, Gavalier Mohammed Farooq. Gavalier Mohammed Farooq. Okay, seems to be that he's not there.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, respected Toastmasters, Gavaliers, and my fellow colleagues. It's been an absolute honor to be the captain of this team, especially with being with such educated Gavaliers and such new Gavaliers as well. It was an amazing journey. I wish even to Gavalier Zaid and Gavalier Shabir and Gavalier Amjad, we hope nothing happened. Everything was just jokes, it was a good debate. And I'm a call upon Gavalier Diomit to speak a few words. Hello everyone. As you know that I was last year's Serendib Toastmasters Guard President, and we started these online meetings with the help of our previous Guard Councillors, Toastmaster Pradeep and Toastmaster Fine. And from there onwards, just look how far we have come to hold debates online. So it's I'm very proud to be part of this team, because to be honest, we went through a lot during this team. We had our downsides. And yesterday was it was a good day, and every day is a good day. And with all these troubles, we were able to still manage our team. Everyone in our team and their team performed exceptionally well. And obviously, I would like to call our VP Education. Sorry. Good evening, dear Gavaliers. First of all, I'd like to thank the moderator for coming back to the Gavel Club and taking the responsibility to do such a wonderful job. And I would like to thank everyone else for attending today and witnessing our debate. And I just want to say good luck to everyone, and especially good luck to the opposition team, because they need it. Good evening, then.
Thank you, all of you, for speaking. And now I see it seems to be like the Chief Judge is ready. The most awaited moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a welcome our Chief Judge, Toastmaster Serendib.
Thank you, President Zaid. Dignitaries, Toastmasters, Gavaliers, my dear guest, good evening, and I hope everyone is doing great. So today was an amazing debate. First, I would like to talk as the president of Serendib Toastmasters Gavel Council of the Boys Gavel Club. I really was impressed by the way the Gavaliers came today. Honestly speaking, it wasn't just seen like a normal meeting where the Gavaliers came. Today, I saw another side of each and every Gavalier, and it really gave me the creeps, the jitters, and thrill and the excitement. I feel that I missed also debating so much, but when I saw you Gavaliers debate, I felt that tension. As a president, I'm really proud that the Boys Gavel Club was able to do their first online debate competition, and to see each and every debater, from the debater to the researcher, I think everyone contributed really well. So I'd like to congratulate each and every team. I realized that when I was talking to each team member, each captain, I saw they worked as a team, as a real team. The captain working tirelessly, talking to his people. But the unsung heroes were also there, the researchers, and I like to congratulate the researchers also who didn't get the platform to speak, but they were the silent people. Gavier Lukman from Golden Gladiators, and from Invincible Warriors, Gavier Amjad Ilham. As Gavel counselor, I really impressed, and hopefully we will see another debate competition, hopefully against the Girls Gavel Club. So as a chief judge, it was a really tough decisions. When I was with the judges, it was really tough choosing the winners, and everything was neck to neck. Honestly, I was sweating from head to toe because I was also thinking who would win. And the judges have spoken, the people have spoken. We will see who are the winners. All right. So let me first of all, all right. So we will start off first with the best speaker. All right, because the first speaker. So the best speaker for today's debate contest goes to Gavalier Zaid Sadiq. The next award is for the best debater. The best debater goes to Gavalier Bilal Jafris. And now the final moment that we all been waiting for, to find out who is the real champion of today's Boys Gavel debate contest. The champion, the best debating team, and the champion of today's debate contest goes to none other. Congratulations to the Golden Gladiators. Congratulations to Golden Gladiators, and not only congratulations to the Golden Gladiator, but I would also say good job to the Invincible Warriors. What I realized from your performance is that you all performed well and everyone did well. It isn't about winning, it's about the experience and the things you have earned through this journey. So congratulations to all the winners, and I wish you all the best of luck. And I would like to hand over the lectern back to our president of the Gavel Club, Gavalier Zaid.
Congratulations to all. It's wonderful job, wonderful job. It's a really sorry because when you are calling that time, I am middle of the meeting. I am because I am another contest going on. That's what I did not accept any task from you all and president. And really, I cannot say there's no words. Really, it's a wonderful, good speakers and very. I was I am a Gavel, part of the Gavel counselor of Girls Gavel Club, and just I was underestimating you all, and but now I realize you all are having a good fight with our people also. Very good, and keep it up, and really, it's wonderful. Congratulations to all the winners. Everybody is winners, but there's a small somebody we have to select. That's what is happening. And best speaker Bilal, yes, he was doing well. And best speaker Said, right? Said, you are good. And same time, best debater Bilal was doing well. It's good competition. Very good. Keep it up. All the best. Gavel president and the Gavaliers and the Gavel councillor Sasi and other members. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rizan, for those wonderful words. And congratulations, my opponents, Golden Gladiators.
We would just like to say thank you, Toastmaster Sasi and everyone. Gavel said your team put up an amazing competition. Props to you, like, and congrats on best speaker.
Yeah, congrats on best speaker. Like, you guys give a tough fight. When Zaid is there, team, it's OP with everyone. So thank you very much. It was a good fight, and yeah, congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
What an incredible contest was it? District Director GTA Madhushan Nanyakara, Gavel councillors, Toastmasters around the globe, Gaveliers, and other distinguished guests. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening to all of you. It's my pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks in front of you today. I know it's been a long day for all of us. Today, we have officially ended our annual debate contest for the year 2020-2021. Today's contest was a huge success for our club. The pandemic has taken the globe by a shock. We, the Serendib Toastmasters Club, was still able to host a contest in order to help create competitive and brave future leaders. We thank the Almighty for helping us in all circumstances. I would like to express my sincere gratitude towards our district director, distinguished Toastmaster Madhushan Nanyakara, for attending this contest and enlightening it with his presence. I would also like to thank all other district officers for accepting our invitation. This event wouldn't have been possible without the help of our Chief Judge, Toastmaster Safvan and his team, who worked tirelessly in making a fair judgment among the two teams and deciding on a winner for this contest. We would also like to thank our Zoom master, distinguished Toastmaster Fazmy Safvan and Toastmaster Madin Gulasekara for controlling and making sure that all necessary arrangements are there with no any technical difficulties during the conference. Furthermore, I would also like to thank our timer for this event, Toastmaster Madam Navisha, for her efforts. Last but not least, I would like to express my appreciation to all Toastmasters, Gaveliers, guests, debaters all around the globe who have attended to this contest during their busy schedule. As such, I would like to end my speech by wishing a wonderful week ahead filled with prosperity and joy. Thank you. God bless you. And the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
So we still have around 33 participants, and if still someone wants to talk, they can switch on their mic and talk. I think we have what do you call Rania Shamshuri, I think, right? This is Toastmaster Shamshuri's daughter, Rania. Gavelier Rania, can you just speak something about today's event?
Yes, me. Rania. Are you talking to me?
Yes, Gavelier Rania. Actually, you are Toastmaster Shamshuri's daughter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, from Garudai to Gavel Club, right?
Huh?
Can you can just speak about today's experience? Like how was it, and you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah, I really liked today's debate. Yeah, I really learned a lot from it. Like how to debate, and it was a big fight, and it was just really interesting. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So, Mr. Chief Judge, are we ending it now?
Yeah, we can end. We can end.
Okay. So,
One
thank you
minute.
very much, everyone.
DTM Fazmy.
Yes.
If they wanted to enjoy, let them enjoy. If they wanted anything, if they wanted,
Exactly.
yeah, it's not an issue. Not
Yeah,
an
yeah,
issue.
it's not an issue. The two teams, if you want
They
to
can
stay, you can
whatever
stay.
they
You
want.
can enjoy.
Yeah, what you have to do it, lock the room and let them enjoy. Others cannot join.
Exactly.
Okay, let them on what they want. Even they want. They need music. Ask them. There they are. Come on, man.
Golden Gladiators.
Golden Gladiators.
Where you are? Come on.
Invincible Warriors.
They are always invincible, I think.
I think they already participated. They already celebrated.
They are celebrating. They went to McDonald's or somewhere. What?
No, that's good.
Gladiators are here. We went to war. And here is our champ, Mr.
No, I got McDonald's. Chicken McDonald's never come. But I can't deal with. I can't pay. No, the captain.
Okay. What do you all need?
He would also say, I would like to say thank you. He would like to show thank you to Uncle. What's your name? I forgot. City Uncle gave us a residence, and this residence made us win. Anyone with this residence would have won, but then we stole it. We stole. No. No, actually, we are very happy. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
You guys must say something. Our research. He got all the details about the W. Yes,
Come, speak.
I think the researcher should speak.
Well, my team only helped me do the research. They told me what to research and what points to get. They made me get the rebuttals and all the things.
Very good. Wonderful.
Yes, whole team effort. Fazil, Marshall, Yusuf, Bilal, Mohammed. Thank you very much. And obviously, I would like to thank our mentor, Toastmaster Fazmy, who helped us in giving us points. Like yesterday, also he came and gave us some points, our last minute points. We wrote them down, and it was very helpful. And yeah, for everyone who helped us, even Toastmaster Sasi, of course, all the points, even today morning also. Thank you.
Now they are breaking the news. Who gave the points?
That's a joke.
Zoom master, stop the recording, please.
No points. I just advise. Okay, no